In our previous tutorial, we explained how to properly clean your gas mask and which chemicals should never be used under any circumstances: spirits, thinners or solvents. In this video, we'll demonstrate what happens to bromobutyl rubber when it comes into contact with aggressive solvents, how these chemicals may affect its integrity and lifespan, and why heat isn't good for the rubber either. This also gives us a great opportunity to test the tactical air purifying respirator TAPR made by the Czech company Avec to spare myself a headache from some very unpleasant fumes. But first, a tough decision has to be made. Which one of my surplus gas masks will be sacrificed in the name of this experiment?
I need something disposable. No, not a chance. This is a treasure. Isn't there anything else? Yeah, definitely. I can live without this one. Let's do some damage.
Before we proceed, I'll salvage a few parts that might come in handy down the line.
Hello, port plug, my old friend. Yeah, 90. And their filter port plugs. Whoa, look at me. I'm a strong man.
Keeping a spare head harness is always a good idea, even though this particular one is infamous for its straps turning bacon-like just after a couple of uses. Classic. Still, it's worth keeping. Removing the bottom plastic cover exposes the exhalation valve, which needs to be gently pulled from its seat. This one is still springy and in great condition. Next, I remove the oral nasal cup because I can, and finally both inlet valves from the inside of the facepiece. Now that I've fully gutted the mask, I want to show you how easily the rubber on the drinking port cover can tear, as that's one of the most infamous issues with this mask. The rubber cover hangs on a small plastic hook, and if you try to pull it while it's still attached, the rubber snaps surprisingly easily. Great design, isn't it? For this test, I've decided to try out the TAPR half mask, which I bought a couple of months ago but never had the chance to use it. As you can see, it's still factory sealed, so let's dig in. I have no idea what makes this mask tactical, but I'm hoping to find about its design qualities very soon. It features a 4-point head harness system with a pulling tab on the harness cap, which according to the manual is intended for doffing, not for putting the mask on. The mask features a standard 40mm NATO filter port placed at the front. It can be used with any compatible filter weighing up to 300 grams. The one I'm using weighs just over 270 grams, so everything should be within recommended specs. Putting the mask on led to a very strange outcome. You have my sword and my bow. I'm funny. But seriously, is this how it's supposed to be? Apparently not. The mask arrived with the head harness attached upside down. Fantastic. The pulling tab should be at the bottom, not sitting on top of my head. So now I have to remove the straps, rotate the harness and reattach everything correctly. Exactly what I was hoping for. Not a great look for the folks at Avec. I also noticed that some of the straps are already entering bacon mode and I haven't even worn the mask properly yet. Is this a joke? What kind of materials degrade this fast? The head harness pad can easily shift out of place because it isn't fixed, something you likely won't notice until you look into a mirror or review the footage in post-production.
Now to tighten the straps, the manual says gently, so I'll be gentle, but it doesn't really do anything. And now the bottom ones, where are they? What the? Are you serious? What just happened? What? It broke! It f***ing broke! On the first try! Are you kidding me? Tactical half mask, ladies and gentlemen. This is unbelievable. What? Whoa! I'm speechless. This is not even worth 10 euros. So I'll just use something I can trust. Get out of here. This is a protective equipment.
Now we can finally begin with the test. First, I'm going to apply denatured alcohol to one side of the facepiece and one of the eyepieces. I'll apply it multiple times, since the alcohol is highly volatile and evaporates quickly. We're not doing this to expose some hidden flaw in bromobutyl masks. We simply want to demonstrate what this type of rubber is not designed for and why manufacturers consistently warn against the use of alcohol or gasoline-based solvents. Next up, technical gasoline. We applied it to the other side of the facepiece so we could compare the results. Once again, it evaporates quickly, so I kept reapplying it to the same areas. You might think this is dirt being pulled out of the facepiece, but it's actually the gasoline dissolving the top layer of the rubber. After just a couple of minutes, it's already obvious that the side treated with gasoline has lost its shine and became noticeably more matte, compared to the side exposed to alcohol. Gasoline is clearly much more aggressive towards the rubber. Let's see what happens when we apply gasoline to the exhalation valve. It curls up almost immediately. I'll let the facepiece sit for a couple of hours, then come back and apply the solvents again. When we checked the mask after 2 hours, the rubber on both sides looked shiny again, but don't let the appearances fool you. When I press my gloved finger against the side treated with alcohol, it slides smoothly over the surface. Now watch and listen what happens when I do the same on the gasoline treated side. The surface has become much rougher, even though it isn't immediately visible. Something has definitely changed. Let's do it all over again. See? The alcohol-soaked gauze remains clean, while the gasoline-soaked one once again attacks the rubber, leaving behind a black residue. Heat and rubber are not friends, so let's rinse the mask with clean water, and we'll then let the facepiece dry overnight on a radiator cranked up to 6. It doesn't go to 11, sorry. When we checked the mask the next morning, nothing had really changed. The radiator heat only reached so far, it was around 42 degrees Celsius. This is slightly above the recommended limit, which is 40 degrees Celsius. With everything we did to the mask, I must say it held up pretty well. However, it's obvious that some surface level damage occurred, especially on the side treated with gasoline. It may look almost pristine, but it really isn't. If you were expecting visually fatal results, I have to disappoint you. That's the tricky part of this whole test. The rubber might look fine, but that doesn't mean its integrity hasn't been compromised. The chemicals also did a number on the eyepieces, leaving some ugly stains which can't be washed off. The bottom line is this: if you only need to casually clean your bromobutyl mask, stick to lukewarm water and a mild soap detergent. When it comes to decontamination, however, use products that have been tested and verified to get the job done without causing permanent damage to the rubber, like these practical safety wipes. And now to the final test.
I was always wondering how impact resistant these eyepieces actually are, so let's try them out. Let's put you out of your misery. Okay, that's pretty impact resistant indeed. Ah! There you go. I guess this kinda breaks the seal. I'm sorry guys, I just can't help myself. Distraction! Ah! Now imagine the eyepieces being hit by a shrapnel or a projectile. I guess you already know what would happen.
In the meantime, I superglued the broken TAPR buckle, as there are still a few things I'd like to address. This mask was made in 2024, so it's not some ancient piece of equipment you'd expect to break during the first donning. Aside from the 4 adjustable straps, there's also a Velcro strap, let's call it a master strap, that tightens around your head circumference. Without the filter mounted, the mask seals just fine, so let's screw in again the one which is supposed to be within recommended weight limit. I tightened all the straps as much as I could on multiple occasions, but they are so stretchy it doesn't matter at all. The mask just kept falling off my face without even moving. 300-gram weight limit, my ass. The only filter the TAPR can reliably carry is this lightweight 100-gram P3 particle filter, which even allows you to jog with the mask on and make sudden horizontal head movements. But once you shake your head up and down, yeah, great. You know what? I want my money back. No spare buckles, no supply of straps I would most probably have to change after a couple of uses. I want this cheap, stupid thing gone and my 46 euros back. What a joke. Tactical. Yeah, sure. This is where the original video ended, but one of you pointed out that it wasn't just the head harness that was upside down, it was the entire plastic harness holder that had been assembled incorrectly. Many thanks for catching that. Both sides of the holder look almost identical, so it never occurred to me that the whole assembly needed to be flipped, not just the harness. The small cutout should be at the bottom, not on top, and fortunately there's an easy fix. First I remove both exhalation valve covers, just like I did previously with the OM90. Then I remove the harness holder, rotate it, and voila! Of course the straps need to be reattached now as well. This is definitely an improvement both in terms of donning comfort and overall weight distribution, and the mask sits on my face much better. That said, the straps still barely move when you try to tighten them, and I'm not risking another broken buckle. Here's a close-up of how the buckles and harness holder should be positioned correctly, something that really should have been done at the factory. Funnily enough, the mask is now more stable during up and down head movements, but it flies around when I move my head from side to side. What a trade-off! Let's see if the mask can support the combined filter as we want to be fair in our evaluation. Nope. Ouch! Once again, there's no difference when it comes to a filter that should still be within the recommended weight limit. One way or another, I want my 46 euros back, Avec. Thanks for watching, guys. What are your thoughts on this tactical half mask? Stay safe, and I'll see you soon in the next CBRN Academy video.